Hey everyone, I'm Victor Dwyer, and today we're going to be talking about everything from Amazon reports, what KPIs to look at, how often you should be looking at your reports, and how to really make a profitable business on Amazon. Today we have Mark from Managed by Stats, and we're going to dive into a little bit of an intro of who he is, how he got into this whole Amazon mess, and then we'll dive into some KPIs and what people should be looking on. Mark, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, give us a little intro about who you are and how you kind of got started in all this.
Absolutely. So back in early 2014, my dad basically was like, "Hey, I'm going to start this thing over here called Amazon. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do a course on it and get started." And I was kind of like, "Okay." I had a full time job at the time, and was working on my career. And 6 to 9 months later, he's making insane amount of money, and I'm going, okay, maybe I should check into this as well. And I did the same training course that he did. I did the Amazing Selling Machine, and learned how to sell on Amazon. And so we had brands that we started up, and we had friends and partners that we were doing stuff with, and very fast it kind of gotten to the point where we were spending way too much time looking through Excel downloads from Amazon, trying to parse the information from Amazon and see which ones of our products were eating up too much of our profits, what our splits were between the different brands. It was ridiculous. We were just spending way too much time looking at all the Excel documents and trying to figure it all out, right? So my dad is a programmer. He knows enough to be dangerous, and so he said, "Okay, this is crazy. Let's just create something so that we can actually see where all the money is going, what Amazon's taking from all of these things, and what our splits are, and how this all kind of works." So he built a system of his own for our products and our brands, so we can actually see, clarity of which products were actually doing what, how they were performing, and where we were losing our profits from, if we were losing profits, right? And then shortly thereafter, showed it to our mastermind group, and they were like, "This is awesome. Can we have this too?" And very quickly it built into, okay, let's actually make a software out of this. Let's give these tools to Amazon sellers. And fast forward today, I mean, that was back in 2015. Fast forward to today, we have a suite of tools that are all geared towards being able to get that clarity, see what's happening with your products, all the way down to the penny of where is your money going? Why, if you sell this much money, you sell this amount of products, why you're only seeing this amount of profit at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So really breaking all that apart and making it clear for people. And then there's a whole bunch of other tools we added over time that make things automated, kind of gearing your attention towards the right things, and really kind of taking the there's a billion different metrics and a billion different data points that you can look at on Seller Central and get from all the reports. And how do you process all that as the owner of your business, especially if you're doing Amazon part-time. You need to that 80-20 rule, right? You need to be able to dive into the things that are going to get you the most bang for your buck. So that's really where we geared a lot of our tools towards. And so that's kind of the nutshell of Managed by Stats, and how we've kind of gone from basically one tool to over 20. And all these things that actually are really just concentrated on that element of being able to manage your business faster, easier, and squeeze out as much profits as you can from each order.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I feel like Amazon has so many hidden fees. Like like there's so many like things that going on in the background. Like so many clients have like came and saying like, "Hey Victor, I'm having a record month, but I'm not making any money." Like, yeah, it's like I'm making
Yep.
$0,
Yep.
and like I think so many people they just see like ACOS and they just run off of ACOS and saying like, "Yep, I'm making that percentage great," but they're not really seeing all the fees in the background, the storage fees, the FBA fees. They're not looking at um
Yep.
all that other data, and it's tricky. Like Amazon doesn't make it easy. It's not like this easy thing where Amazon like you can see it and it's very like easily displayed. They kind of hide it from you in a way. And so
It's
it's
interesting. It's
yeah.
actually true. Like you have people that will just go, yeah, they see the reports or they see the settlement, report from Amazon, and they're going, okay, well, I can see all the fees that are in there, but what they there's it, like you said, it's a little bit hidden because they give you summaries, they give you a conglomerate of the data, and then some of the stuff doesn't get shown up in there, and you have Amazon withholds a certain amount of money sometimes, and then they pay it out to you after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that Amazon does that you don't know if it's malicious or
Yeah.
malice aforethought, or if it's really just something that makes sense. But nonetheless, yeah, we take all of that and we really break it apart because yeah, if you don't know the minute details of your numbers, those fees are going to bite you in the butt, and you're not going to be able to have a true number of what your actual profit is, and or understand why you're losing profit on certain things.
And I think it's most important now than ever because of inflation. Like before, everyone's like cost of goods was doing pretty good, like about a year or two ago, and then everything kind of hit, like with the crate cost going to 25,000, and then we have like inflation, everything going up like crazy. So there's a lot of issues, and it's really important to know your fees because everyone's being squeezed like razor thin now when it comes to margins. No one is having good margins right now. Like
Right.
everyone is either like significantly decreased margins or have no margins right now. And it's really important to understand what those fees are on Amazon because it's normal to be a low margin channel on Amazon. It's very normal to have a low margin channel but high velocity so that in order to gauge how much you want to spend, you have to know your fees. Like
Yeah.
without a doubt, you have to know your fees to actually make it successful.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember a webinar I did probably a couple months ago, laid out every single element of what fees are coming out of your orders, and it
Mhm.
was like 22 different things. That was like holy. So it kind
Yeah.
of paints that picture. There's so many different elements that not everyone thinks with.
Yeah, 100%. And what would you say from a KPI standpoint of what people should be looking at? Like, let's just say on a weekly basis for now. So you have like the overall big picture stuff, like you look at like every month, but on a weekly or like maybe every 2 day basis, what are the KPIs that people should be looking at that should be like red flags? Either whether if it's conversion rate dropping, whether if it's decrease in the amount of sales, like what are the KPIs that people should be frequently looking at to making sure their overall account health is okay? What would you say? Those are like let's say those KPI
Yeah.
4 5 KPIs that are super important.
Yeah, so it's funny because in the 8 years that we've been progressing along this line with Managed by Stats, we've been dealing with a lot of sellers over these years, and there's so many different ways to sell on Amazon that there's so many different metrics that you can kind of consider a KPI,
Mhm.
and or the key things that you want to look at. Some people concentrate on Amazon PPC. Some people
Mhm.
don't do PPC and concentrate on influencers.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different ways. So it's funny. We for the longest time we've had just a ton of metrics. We had every single metric that we can possibly get from Amazon. We had and we parsed and we did formulas with, so you could see the different numbers and kind of be able to get this breakdown. But as we progressed and as we dealt with a lot of customers, we kind of did little surveys or interacted with them and said, hey, what what are the key things that you guys look at? What are the key elements that you're concentrating on? And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of funny because I get a little bit like not embarrassed, but kind of like because when we figured it out and we're like, okay, these are there's actually just four metrics that cover every single aspect of selling on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at those four, you can know what area of the business you need to dive into.
Yeah.
And when we kind of had this kind of aha moment, it was kind of embarrassing. It was like, of course, these are they make the complete sense. But how do you then break those down? What other elements pertain to those four KPIs, and how do you use those KPIs to drill into the area that needs your attention?
Yeah.
So those four KPIs, pretty simple, but also kind of like when you hear them, you go, okay, that makes sense. Sessions, how many people are coming to your listing, right? Whether that's organic or paid sessions. Are you getting people to your listing? So that's the first one. Conversion rate, how are they converting? So someone comes to your listing, do they want to buy or not, right? So that conversion rate, or that what Amazon calls unit session percentage, are you actually converting on this stuff? And then, of course, profit. You don't necessarily want to look at sales, although that is one of the precursors to profit. But again, if you're just looking at your revenue, you're not going to actually see your actual profit from those sales. You don't know how much profit you're making from those sales. So if you look at profit instead of revenue, you're going to be gauging your success accordingly. And then, of course, the last thing is reviews, right? Do you have a good star rating? Do you have a good volume of reviews? Do you have a good cadence of new reviews coming in? So those are kind of those are the four KPIs. And then a lot of elements relate to each one of those. So if you have something wrong with your listing, that could be affecting your sessions. If you have something wrong with your SEO, that can be affecting your sessions and conversion, right?
Yeah.
So all the different elements, all the things that you learn on how to sell on Amazon, they relate to those four metrics. And then all the metrics that kind of relate to those things are all going to come underneath one of those four KPIs, or two of them. Conversion rate and profit, some things can go hand in hand in there, right? How much
Yeah.
you're spending on ads and how your ads are converting, your cost per click. Those can relate to both your profit and your conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we did in Managed by Stats. Is we were like, okay, when we had this kind of aha moment, we were like, okay, we need to take these KPIs and really make it so that the new seller, but also the experienced seller, can look at them and go, okay, I know what area needs my attention, right? There's 1,000 things to do on Amazon, but what you want to be concentrating on is finding new products, or doing a new launch, or reviving an old product, right? Doing things to get better marketing and get more products out there. So if you can find what's going wrong with your existing products, get that handled fast, now you can go back to external traffic or whatever it is that you're doing to try to drive in more traffic to your listing. So
Yeah.
that's what we built out. We built out dashboards that actually show you those KPIs, show you that on an account level, broken all the way down to individual product level. And then you can dive in and actually see more details on all the metrics that relate to those.
Okay, so weird question. Have you ever done an analysis on the conversion rate versus the conversion rate difference between organic versus sponsored, by just like, how like Amazon doesn't really give you the breakdown, but I'm curious, you can just take all the sponsored like sessions and the amount of people that purchase, and then basically like do it organic versus sponsored. The reason why I ask, because I'm just curious on if there is a difference between people that find it organically and if that conversion rate is different. Like I would just be curious if there's like how big of that difference is, and I know that would fluctuate a lot by what format you use, but like that could be an interesting like A/B test, like between, let's say, sponsor brand video, seeing your conversion rate there, or like just seeing the difference between ad format versus a like organic format, and what the
Yeah.
conversion rate difference would be. You probably don't, because it's a very complex thing, but I was just curious. That might be something in the future that that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if there would be a difference, but
Absolutely. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's something that we could definitely look into, because obviously we have all that data. It's funny because I have talked to a few clients who've done something similar to that with the data inside of Managed by Stats. So you can see your PPC sales, and you can see your organic sales, right? And so you can look at that conversion rate, and if you separate those two numbers, you can look at your conversion rate for your PPC and your organic and do your analysis. But yeah, like you said, there's so many variations of how people are doing their business that there's not, it might be a lot of study and a lot of comparing and whatnot to try to find some common denominators.
Yeah. And I'm curious. When I heard, like, we talked about that repeat purchase analysis a little bit. I'm curious if you had any other insights, or if you want to share your screen, if you have a demo account already up and wanted to show it. Totally happy to do
Yeah,
with
let's
whatever if
see.
you have it available. But like it's just a super important thing to see, like, a product by product breakdown. A lot of sellers, it's really hard to get that because, like, you can get it from Nozzle AI, but they're super expensive. Like, and like if you do it manually, it takes hours to create. So like it's just a really hot topic right now for a lot of people. And just curious if you wanted to share that.
Yeah, let me pull up one of my accounts that I do for a lot of demos here, and I'll just so you have some real data. I don't think the demo account has real data yet for that aspect, but let me just pull one up. Give me 1 second to log in,
Yeah, no
and
worries.
we'll
And
share that
what
screen.
would you say from like I like because the reason why I always bring up repeat purchase rate, because that could be a potential KPI to track in the future, is the reason why I bring that up, because like sales is important, sessions is important, and things like that. And
Yeah,
like repeat purchase rate, if you keep track of that, you can start like when you look at your advertising data, if, like, for example, you have like spend, sales, ACOS. That is the normal way to look at Amazon. That is the everyone does it that way. But if you had a little column in there and you said repeat purchase rate percentage or lifetime value of customer as a column, your whole data changes. Everything changes, because
yep,
if I have a 50% ACOS on a product, but I have a $150 lifetime value, customer lifetime value for that product, I want to push that as much as humanly possible, and things change. So rather than looking at the short term aspect, you can look at the long term, and it really changes a lot of different things. So that's why I bring that up, is because it's a really big game changer on how you launch your ads as a strategy.
absolutely. Absolutely. So here, let me share my screen, and I'll show you. We've built this repeat purchase percentage into several areas of the UI. Let me just do entire screen.
Great.
Let me know if you can see that.
Yep. Got it.
Okay. So yeah, so in our repeat purchase, our repeat buyers tab inside of Managed by Stats, you have the complete breakdown of your total revenue for these products, but also how much repeat purchase products or repeat purchase orders you have from these. So if you have a total of 53 orders, 16 of them are from repeat purchases. You have your repeat percent of total orders, your repeat percent of the revenue, and then your yearly product lifetime value. So this is kind
Oh,
of, I think, what you were talking about,
yeah.
where that you have a lifetime value of what that product is, and you're willing to then spend either more money or less money based off of that lifetime value for the product. And yeah, this is an awesome project that you basically helped us kind of build this into the system, instead of
Yeah.
just having the lifetime value for the customer, which is what you have. Many people have that metric, and we have that metric easily for every single customer. Now you have the lifetime value for the actual product itself, and like you said, it helps you kind of narrow in on what areas, how much are you willing to spend, how high can you take your tacos,
Mhm.
to be able to know that that advertising, those dollars are worth it.
And when it says 30 days, is that right there when it says 30 days, what does that
Yeah.
exactly mean? Does that mean
So that's
30
just
like
taking the last 30 days for these metrics here, but then the lifetime is going to be for the actual lifetime of the product.
got it. Got
Yep.
it. Is in the future, would there be a way to manipulate that to see, like, for like the
Absolutely.
last 3 months and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're
Cool.
building that into the dashboard.
Cool.
So we will have this as a widget in the dashboard where you'll be able to manipulate the date ranges that you want to see, and so you can see, what that lifetime value is based off of that.
That's super cool. That's super
Yep.
cool. And like I said before, that changes the way advertising is. Like,
Yeah.
because everyone uses ACOS, everyone uses tacos, but no one uses lifetime value. Like
Right.
no one is using repeat purchase rate. And that and especially the supplement space. Like you can't like people are spending 300% ACOS on the supplement space just to survive. And
Right.
with inflation, if you add inflation to that, like they're making like negative 4 times the amount of for the cost of the customer, but it
Yep.
only makes sense as a repeat purchase rate. But if you're pushing products that have a low repeat purchase rate, it doesn't make sense. But
Right.
that's where it really becomes a game changer on how you push it, because if you're looking at that, then all your data changes. So that's a really cool aspect, and I'm glad you're like building that out, because that's going to be really really cool, especially like when you can implement it into the advertising. Like that'd be really really cool to kind of see that broken out like as a column, like an additional
Yeah.
column. It'd be really
It
cool.
takes that concept of tacos or total ACOS, and it takes it one step further, so that that for those products that you actually are getting some repeat purchases, you can manipulate that taco number now, instead of just thinking with trying to be under 10%. That you probably have a little bit more play if you have a really good repeat percent for the lifetime value of the product. And then you know that, okay, yeah, I can be a little bit more competitive with these big industries out there that are pushing some kind of subscription product. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I come from the Facebook advertising world. So it is completely normal to optimize for like lifetime value of customer. Like that's always been a thing for like that I've been able to do within Facebook ads. Like optimize for lifetime value, optimize for first customer purchase, optimize for certain customers. Like I've always been able to do that. And then when I came
yeah,
to Amazon, it's just like you can only like there's only one purchase. Like there's only one thing. So it's because it's cost per click. So that's a little bit different, but like it's important to have that in your wheelhouse. There might not be any algorithmic things going on to optimize that, but you can at least manually do it for now. I think a really big game changer in the future would be a tool that does optimize for that in the future, like Facebook ads already does. But
right,
just do that in an Amazon sense, optimizing for that long-term customer lifetime value, and playing around with that. That would be a huge game changer there. But
absolutely, yeah,
we're not
and
at that
there's
level yet. But yes,
right.
it'll be really, really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And then
there's some stuff that's moving in that direction, but it's I think it's still kind of far off, with the Amazon attribution and being able to see those sales that are coming from external areas, and how do they affect your organic sales and your ranking, all that kind of stuff. But
yep.
yeah, they're still a bit off from the Facebook and Google Goliath
Yeah.
of metrics that they have.
Yes, 100%. And what else would you say from a so we talked about the weekly things that people should be looking at, either like daily, weekly. Um, and when it comes down to the monthly, like what should people be looking at like every 1 or 2 months to make sure kind of everything's okay? Like I would assume that like your fees, like profitability. What else would you say is like really important that an Amazon seller should be looking at, like maybe on a monthly level
I
or
think
quarterly?
probably when you do a little bit more of a dive into these KPIs, there's going to be things that you're going to want to have as either biweekly or monthly, where you're looking at the metrics and kind of determining overall strategies. As an example, the tacos number, looking at that for individual products. Yeah, of course, you have your bottom dollar with your profit numbers, but breaking that down into, okay, which products are actually eating up a little bit too much of your profits, and you can see that with the taco number broken out by ASIN. So I would say diving into that at least once a month would be smart, if not twice a month, to see which products are kind of eating up a little bit too much. Like you said, there could be the cost of goods or the inbound shipping fees that have skyrocketed. How do you kind of get razor thin on your advertising or your conversion rate for those products? And so pinpointing which ones, are kind of eating up a little bit too much of that taco number,
Yep.
that would be smart. And then that way you're chipping away at the ones that are eating up a little bit too much of your money, and optimize those, take action on those ones. Again, taking that kind of 80-20 concept of, find the outliers that are really kind of, eating too much, take action on those guys, and then, go from there.
And I think what you said is amazing because, like, I think once a seller gets more than about 50 to 100 products, I feel like a lot of things get neglected from that. So, like, you might have a product that does well, but you're only spending like $100 max on that particular product, and that makes it where you just don't have as much success for that particular product. And because you're not testing new keywords, testing new
Yeah.
formats and things like that. So like looking at that on that product level and seeing what you're spending on, it usually ends up being like 80-20 most of the time. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
like so
Yeah.
80% of your spend goes to your top 20 products. Whereas if you change it up a little bit and get and spend like some dollars there where there's the A cost is good, lifetime value is good, whatever it may be. There's a lot of opportunity there. Because I feel like anytime you get over 100 products, I feel like a lot of things get a lot of spend gets neglected for some other
Yeah.
products that could be a potential good fit in the future.
Absolutely. And that's one of the cool things, that if you're analyzing, you do that 80-20, right? You go, okay, these are the ones that I know I need to put attention on, make sure that those are going great. Those are the ones that are giving me the most revenue, the most profit. Okay, great. You, once you do that a couple times, and if you kind of build a pattern for yourself of like, okay, I need to tackle these things, I need to tackle those things, at a certain point, you're going to be like, okay, good. Those are great. Those are on kind of just auto now. Let those keep rolling. Check, things here and there. And now you can actually put your attention. Okay, this one over here, it might not be giving me a lot of revenue, but the conversion rate is great. The tacos is great for it. So,
Yeah.
okay, let me see if I can do some marketing, some expansions or relaunch, to get that product now going into a higher revenue stream, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where the magic ties in of, okay, yeah, you've done your 80-20, you've concentrated on the areas that need your attention. Okay, now those are kind of rolling, good.
Yeah.
What can you do to expand, right? What things can you, instead of maybe only thinking with a new product, maybe look at one of your existing products and go, okay, it's got some good conversion rates. I think we can drive some more traffic to it. Maybe try some external traffic. Maybe check your keywords. Optimize your PPC a little bit more. Dive into that, right? So that's kind of where it opens up. When you do this often enough, it opens up your time to go, okay, now I can put attention on this little limping product over here. It's got great conversion rate. Let's tackle it. See if we can get it, boosted up on the ranking, organic rank, etc.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't talk about is we had this one supplement client that was a lactation support, it was a collagen supplement, and it was a daily vitamin support. And they spent all this money and they could not figure out why the conversion rate was so bad. And it's because they had to adjust the product pitch and A/B test the title tags and say like, what is this product? Is it a lactation collagen support? Do people care more about that? Is it a collagen daily vitamin support? It was just so many things that it was hard to figure out what is the product? What is it?
Right.
And I think that's also a valuable like KPI somewhere in there is that like that might A/B testing your title tags of what the product pitch is. If it is one of those things that it is multiple, could be multiple things, like play around with that. Like if your supplement helps with heart health and hair growth, A/B test them. Like test hair growth heart supplement, like or test that.
Yep.
Or do people care more about just the hair growth? Like should be more A/B testing in the title tags of what the product pitch really is, because that's going to change your conversion rate and change the amount of and the success of certain things. And the reason why I say that is if you have a product that isn't part of that 80% of your spend, you say, oh yeah, the A cost sucks. Like it's not worth putting any more spend toward that. Like it's
Yep.
really important that you take a step back and maybe A/B test like some simple things, because we A/B tested some title tags and then we found it and boom, it just took off and all that spend before was wasted. But as soon as we found the right thing, then it was there. So don't necessarily give up on your products that are lower, because sometimes it just takes some A/B testing, figure out what the product pitch is, and then it becomes a lot better. So
So
don't
true.
just forget it. Don't just forget it forever. Like there is some give it some love. Give it some love, and it
Yep.
should reward you.
Yeah, it's so true, and that's a tried and true marketing concept that a lot
Yeah.
of Amazon sellers don't necessarily think with.
Yeah.
Um, you know, at least the ones that are getting started. There's I think Chelsea Cohen from So Stock. She laid this out beautifully, where you are adjusting your listing, doing A/B testing on your listing and changing things to speak to different types of audiences. Like you said, right? There's different elements of what that supplement helps with.
Yeah.
How can you either, have some of your bullet points covering some of those elements, and maybe the title tackles that main, the most interest point, and then your bullet points can cover some of those other elements, but doing things to actually speak to your audience and really make the product communicate that feature or that element or that benefit, so
Yeah.
powerful. And it ties right into this management concept. It's funny, the marketing and then now management, the same concept applies of that A/B testing. You need to keep track of that. So
Yeah.
inside of Managed by Plants, we have a change log where you can go and say, okay, I made a change to my title concentrating on this element, or I updated my images to concentrate on on the story points of my product. But then seeing how those changes affect, right? Do they actually harm or increase certain statistics, right? Or certain one of these KPIs. So you can kind of see that inside of our system where there's clear indicators of when you made changes, and then you can see those on graphs. So you can see trends based off of, okay, you made the change here. Does the trend drop or does it go up, right?
Wow.
So key management
That's
element
really
that
amazing.
not everyone thinks with, that, yeah, some business guy in Harvard or whatever is going to know this concept of change logs and stuff. And obviously a lot of Amazon sellers know it too, but it's something that not everyone thinks with. But if you take track of those things and build it into how you actually look at your business, it's going to help you a lot.
That's really amazing, because like the reason why it's so hard to A/B test in Amazon is because there's so many variables. Like when it comes down to what keywords you're using, how much your spend, did your
Yeah.
spend change, and things like that. And I think that's super valuable that you have that change log saying, "Hey, here's what it did," and then really seeing what the is afterward, because it's really hard to see that. You basically have to like, right, if you were not to use a tool, you basically have to like make a note saying, "Okay, on the 23rd I made this change," and like keep that in your notes, and then go to the date ranges and sort the date ranges. Say, did it go up? And then you have to look at the previous date. Like it's not easy. Like let's just say
Yeah.
that. So that's really amazing that you have a change log to like see that, because it's just not easy to see if it went up or down, to be honest.
Fully.
No.
Fully.
And is there anything else that you see that a lot of Amazon sellers are doing when it comes to reporting KPIs that you see? Like, if you see, like, hey, a lot of Amazon sellers are doing this and they should be doing this when it comes down to the people that come to you, or anything else, or just generally on Amazon.
I think
Do you have any suggestions that you're seeing top of mind that you think people should be doing right now?
there's always been this element of being able to work on your business and not in your business.
Yeah.
It's when you first get started, you're working in your business. You're in there, doing the research on SEO, getting the images created, and you're in there digging, right?
Yeah.
Trying to optimize as best as you can, trying to do your launch. You're in there pitching, right?
Yeah.
And if you can get yourself to the point where you're working on your business, you're managing it, you have, maybe one or two people that work for you, or you have things on automatic, or, uh, an element where you're not being sucked into all the things that need to be done every day day to day. If
Yeah.
you get those things kind of automated and set up, you can work on your business. And I think one of the key elements of that is reports and notifications, and being able to feel comfortable with, okay, if you're going to a convention, or if you need to go see family or whatever it is, and you need to be
Yeah.
away from your computer and not looking at your metrics every day or every couple of days or whatever,
Mhm.
having some kind of notification of, are things going okay or not? And
Yeah.
for the longest time, people would, there's of course alerts that you can get for your title or your image or a bad review coming in. Um, but we took this concept and said, okay, how can we help sellers to have that to be comfortable with letting go a little bit and
Yeah.
being okay with going to a convention, going to a vacation with the family or whatever it is, but still knowing that things are being looked after, right?
Yeah.
So what we did is we took these KPIs and the key metrics that you want to look at inside of Amazon, and we made what we call smart notifications. Basically, that concept of if there's a change or if there's a drop by a certain percent on one of these KPIs or one of your key metrics that you want to be looking at, can you get a notification, right? So it's
Mhm.
actually looking at those metrics, looking at your trends and going, okay, if there was a drop by, let's say, 20% in your sessions compared to last week, okay, maybe there's something that you ran out of PPC on one of your campaigns, or,
Yeah.
you had an influencer mention one of your products and whoosh,
Right.
So
Yeah.
these kind of smart notifications we built for each of the KPIs, as well as about 4 or 5 other key metrics. So you can actually just set them and know that if you do step away, if you do, go off, you can get notified if there is a market drop or a significant drop of some sort in your entire account, or all the way down to an individual product. If there's, one that you're doing a launch on and you have to take a couple days off, you know that, okay, if there's, if you set up a notification for this,
Yeah.
that, okay, the drop in sessions or profit or conversion, or if your impressions suddenly stop or whatever it is, you can get notified and know that you're, you know, gonna be okay, because you can get that notification and then go, okay, good. Now I know I need to dive in, handle that, and then go back to what you're doing.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention or make sure you mentioned, whether if it is related to that or just any other aspect of what Amazon sellers should be doing, that's been top of mind for you?
I mean, I think that's kind of the main stuff. I
Mhm.
think there's obviously a whole bunch of other elements that kind of tie to this, and we've built a bunch of these elements into the software so that it can kind of help you, checklists on, what elements of Amazon relate to each one of these KPIs.
Yeah.
Not only metrics, but actually what parts of the Amazon business relate to each one of these KPIs. So if you feel like you've handled what you should be handling and the metrics don't improve, okay, maybe there's something you missed, right?
Yeah.
So some kind of guidance and whatnot for that. And then there's the element of just really diving in and knowing the exact details. I think it just kind of it continually goes back to that element of what are all your fees, what are all the elements of, how much are you spending, how much is Amazon taking, what other fees
Mhm.
might you not be thinking with that are coming out of your products, and being able to see that to the penny breakout. That's kind of what we see it always kind of goes down to,
Mhm.
for Amazon sellers, is really just knowing those numbers and being able to take action based off of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And unfortunately, that's all how we have time for today. I know we can go on for KPIs, reports, every single
Right.
KPI for 9 hours straight.
Literally.
Mark, thank you so much for hopping on. And please tell them how to find you, where to find Managed by Stats, and everything else related to that.
Absolutely. So there's actually two places. You can just go to managebystats.com. That's pretty simple. And then we've also joined forces with Carbon 6. So we're part of the Carbon 6 community ecosystem of Amazon seller tools. So carbon6.io, you can see all the tools that relate to Managed by Stats and Carbon 6 in there. So yeah, reach out. We have a chat and support line if you want to check it out. And you can also, do demos of the software. And yeah, pretty simple.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everyone for watching and hope everyone has a great day.